Some Pac-12 women's soccer on your Thursday afternoon in Spokane, Washington, and it is a hot one at Luger Field. We are closing in on 95 degrees for game one of today's Gonzaga soccer doubleheader, and we begin with the big one as the Gonzaga women take on the Arizona Wildcats. So happy to have you with us this afternoon alongside forward Gonzaga forward John Billings. I'm Greg Talbot, and it's been a big opening week for Gonzaga soccer as new members of the Pac-12, headlined by their first ever National Player of the Week winner. Amelia Severn, the very talented midfielder. You already know, you've seen the highlights on the internet. 4 goals in the season opener against USF. Put up 2 great shots on goal in the following game against Arizona, John. She was the talk of women's college soccer.
You can see why with these highlights. All 4 goals were a different type of skill. Left foots, right foots, long shots, good runs into the box. She's only a midfielder, so when you've got a midfielder who's able to get forward and score 4 goals in a match, you got something special.
So the Zags are off to a 1-1 start. So are the Arizona Wildcats. But notably, John, this is a team that has been really underperforming on the road for a couple of years now.
Yeah, head coach Becca Moros has been there now for 6 seasons, so she's starting to get her players into her system. They're very young up front, but they're very talented and experienced in the back. Honestly, it's going to be a similar type of style of play that you see for Gonzaga. Should be an excellent matchup.
Zags have the all-time record against Arizona. Still feels like a big game, trying to get back into the positive record column as Severn, Snorsky, and the rest take on the Wildcats after the break. Big doubleheader today at Luger Field. We're just about ready to get underway as Gonzaga has the women taking on Arizona in a big-time game. Coming up in just a matter of minutes here as we're announcing the starting lineups on the field. Greg Talbot and John Billings with you to get ready for this one. And Coach Katie Bentz now starting year number 3, John, and she's made a couple of changes here with various injuries and just decisions at the beginning of the season. We're going to see who she's starting in goal, and it's going to be for game number 3, Sydney Head. So she's made a couple of decisions here in the offseason.
Yeah, think about when you were trying to establish your style of play. The first year, the second year, really trying to establish that, and now you're fine-tuning it. So both of these coaches are going to have their team starting to come into stride. Sydney had a little bit bigger, a little bit more dynamic, and she just won the spot and has earned this starting spot now for the third straight match.
Yeah, Coach Benz told us before the game that it was just a head-to-head competition going back to last spring, and Sydney was just slightly ahead by the time they broke camp and got ready to play game number 1. So as of right now, it's her job to lose, although Michaela McCollum is still very talented and is right there waiting in the wings. As for the Wildcats, Becca Moreau is coming up on season number 6. And she said it feels like it's gone by in an absolute flash. And this is a team, though, John, that really only lost 1 or 2 big names from last year. Most of the depth she had to fill in was in secondary roles in the offseason.
Yeah, the transition now is young players need to be leaders. Juniors are now expected to come and be leaders on these teams and instead of just a bit role. And so there's a little bit more on their shoulders. Similarly in goal to Gonzaga, who wondered at the start of the year who was going to be the goalkeeper. Sophia Cortez-Brown gets the start tonight, but don't be surprised if they sub halfway through. That's been a consistent theme throughout the season.
Yeah, Lauren Ziller has actually gotten the majority of minutes in net for Arizona, the UC Irvine transfer, so we would not be surprised to see a change midway through, especially if the Wildcats are behind.
Yeah, and I think what we've seen in a few of the games, and including an exhibition earlier in the season, they split goalkeepers, so at halftime they may make a substitution regardless of how well Cortez Brown is playing. So a little different where Gonzaga's got a decision made on the goalkeeper and it's her spot to retain for the season. For Arizona, it's likely going to be a rotation until somebody really steps up.
And let's show you today's keys to the game for the Bulldogs and Wildcats. John, you cooked these up for us. Take it away.
Well, for Arizona, obviously, when you're playing against an opponent who scored 4 goals in a match, you got to keep an eye on her. So look for the midfielders to always have their heads on a swivel and find number 14 for Gonzaga. And then you want to make Gonzaga's wings worry about getting back defensively rather than attacking and going forward. For Gonzaga, if those wings are active, it opens up space in the midfield for players like Severn. So that's going to be the transition point. See what happens when one team loses the ball. Who's got the right shape to stymie a counterattack is likely going to be the team that wins this match.
And we're off and running here in Spokane as Sophia Schlicklin puts on the Jets to chase this one down early. It's out of bounds, and this will be Zag ball. Sophia Schlicklin, one of the huge new additions to this Gonzaga team from SIU. Probably the newest player they're most excited to have. She had a big impact in these first 2 games. They got the Zags off to a 1-1 start. Into the middle off the head of Brooke Metcalf is Sophia Cortez. Chases it down. So both of these teams off to a 1-1 start this year. Both of them, John, defensively minded, and both bring back 2 of their top 3 scorers. In a lot of ways, these teams are going to be playing very similar games.
Yeah, fun to see, too, because it's not one of those matches where one team's going to sit back and try to counterattack, and it's just a matter of if they can break through. Both teams are going to be confident in going forward. They'll risk some numbers to get into the box, but they're not going to throw everything, and they're going to try to possess as they build up. So it's going to be a matter of which team is able to kind of take advantage. Look for the 50-50 balls today. The team that wins those might get that little edge.
Fifty-50 ball for Schlicklin to the middle. Knocked out of bounds. So the Zags, like we said, off to a 1-1 start. The big one was the season opening 5-1 win against South Florida, where, of course, Amelia Severn had 4 goals. Sam Snorsky had 1. Came back with a 3-0 loss at Oregon. Interestingly, as part of that game against the Ducks, though, they were only outshot by Oregon 13-12. So they put on the pressure. They just couldn't finish as Arizona tries to clear. Lester tries to feed it ahead to Schlicklin. She has a burst of speed, but that's not quite enough space, and the Zags will keep this.
Good read from Lester there. She's going to be that holding midfielder position. Her responsibilities are mainly defensive, but if she can come up and redistribute and get the ball right back into attack, that's great for GU.
One last note on that last game for Gonzaga against Oregon. John, they did possess for 55% of that game, so they spent a lot of time on the counter, a lot of time in possession, just couldn't finish on the opportunities they had.
Yeah, and I think sometimes possession can be a little misleading. You can have a lot of possession along your back 4 and not do anything with it. Thus far, we're just a couple minutes into the game. Possession in the attacking third the entire time for GU.
Here's Snorsky. Trying to advance through and lost the handle. And here comes Jessica Bedoya. She's the most prominent member of this Wildcats offense so far this year. She just lost the handle.
Possession may be a little bit more important, Greg, in this matchup because of the weather. It's going to be hot. The last thing you want to be doing is chasing your opponent all over the field. It's easier to have the ball running around than it is chasing your opponent.
As the Gonzaga line up the same defense back there today as they try to slow down Weathersby with possession. Weathersby with a left, tries to cross in, and Sydney Head nearly got left on an island there. Lily Boydson to the middle for Bedoya. That one looked like it was off of Gonzaga, actually, and it will be. Well, no. Referees weren't entirely in agreement. Looks like they're actually going to give this to the Bulldogs. That looked like it was off of GU.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Michaela Werner came over and got a toe on this, and it looked like Head touched it, but maybe they said afterwards, after it had crossed the line.
Here's the Arizona lineup once again with Sophia Cortez in goal. Jessica Bedoya is their key offensive contributor, but they have a bunch of great new additions via the transfer portal. Notably, Lainey Swanson already has a goal for them from TCU, John. She's great.
Yeah, her and Allie Brown both transferred from TCU. They're Arizona natives. They'll basically play a 4-4-2 with Bedoya and Swanson up top.
Snorsky nearly tripled over in the corner and loses it to Marissa Arntz, the senior.
I think the real strength of this Arizona Wildcats team are in their outside backs. Arnst and Mendiola will get forward. They're going to create in the attack, but also back defensively. High work rate, and they read the game really well.
Anna Ryden on defense, trying to cut off Ella Weathersby. And she does. Very impressive. We've seen a lot these first two games of the season here from Anna Ryden, John. Barely played it all last year after transferring from Clemson, but she played all 90 against Oregon.
Yeah, she had something kind of strange with almost like an allergy attack that she was trying to work through, a sinus issue last year. And it was like she never got her stride.
She didn't.
Within this lineup. And then once the season's partway through, coaches get their rotations and their formation kind of settled in. This year's a full off season, able to get her feet under her, and she's grasped that center back spot right next to Werner.
And here is Michaela Werner, the local from Rockford, Washington, about 20 minutes south. Into the box as Lester tries to chase it. And back to Werner for possession. Gonzaga out here rocking their 4-3-3. That's going to be their normal formation to begin these games as Brooke Metcalf comes up along the side. And Kelly Chappell will receive, the true freshman from Arizona. Coaching staff very high on her to be starting her back there as a true freshman in the modern college game, but they're super excited about her. To the middle, Schlicklin nearly had that one off the head, but caught off at the pass by Cortez.
Nice run into the box, well timed by Schlicklin. She looked a little nervous about the punch that was coming from Cortez Brown. A little turtle duck there right before she was going to play. You had to be brave.
Would have called her Cortez the Killer like Neil Young. That would have been something. Check this out.
Nice ball driven in. That makes it harder for the goalkeeper to get off their line and collect it easily. Well done from Gonzaga, trying to boss the flanks early. And good alert decision there from Cortez Brown to not try and catch it. Knew she had to punch it and did confidently.
Chappell to Severn. Already nearly doubled. They're trying to limit her on her quarter of the field. Snorsky.
Defended really well there by Arns to not give up a corner kick. Snorsky would have been happy just poking it off the shin and earning a set piece. She's tough to handle. I mean, she wants to go one-on-one, put so much pressure on the defense. She's not the kind of winger that's just going to get it and pass it. She's going to see if she can beat somebody and make the defense shift over.
Schlicklin in. Off the head to the middle, and Arizona attempts to clear. Here's Chappell. Lester going for the head, couldn't quite get there. Michaela Werner feeds back to Ryden, and the Zags will reset.
Both Werner and Ryden have spent time in the midfield and as forwards in the younger days before coming to Gonzaga. So it's nice to have two center backs that are so comfortable with the ball at their feet. You can see when they get it, they don't just lump it back up. They settle it and rebuild the attack.
Zags continuing to dominate possession here in the Arizona third of the field. Into the middle. Cortez punches it away. And I cannot help but notice, John, Arizona is already finding ways to seemingly double Severn and Snorsky whenever they're near the ball.
Yeah, they're going to have to keep an eye on her, and they're not going to stop her just with one player. This is the time you might be able to find a gap.
Snorsky had some space as the defense collapsed. It bounced off of Hurge.
You see that transition moment is when you don't have a chance to kind of get your shape and double team a player. That's where Gonzaga's got to look quickly to see if they can find Snorsky and Severn. They did that time with Snorsky. Arizona just can't get forward, trying to find their feet up top, and the idea is you lay it back off and let your midfield get front. But right now Gonzaga's pressure just too tight.
That was Brooke Metcalf who sent that one into Arizona's territory. Metcalf got the start against Oregon. We were wondering why, John, and then before the game we saw Emily Todd on a scooter. So she's going to be out for some amount of time. We don't exactly know, but enough that she's on a scooter.
Yeah, and look, the traits that Brooke Metcalf brings to a lineup is speed, athleticism. If she plays quickly and aggressively in utilizing that, she's really tough to handle. So a little different than Emily Todd, who's a bit more of a technical player and can retain possession.
The Arizona coaching staff, not sure if you can hear on our microphone at home where you're watching from, but you hear them talking about trying to possess the ball and don't give it away. Make a good decision is what they're saying. I don't have the exact number in front of me, John, but right now it must be at least 60% Gonzaga on possession. And here comes Schlickland on the move, and Cortez cuts her off at the pass. So Sophia Schlickland, the SIU transfer. Coach Katie Benz told us before the season started that she's lightning quick, has an explosion of speed that will surprise everyone in this conference, and she keeps nearly getting there. Yeah, and what you saw there for Gonzaga, a team that would like to possess out of the back and try to work it forward, but if the center backs or the outside backs look up and they see 1v1 with their forwards, especially somebody like Schlickland with that speed, they're going to serve it to her. Snorsky doubled. Great play by Arizona to keep that from being a corner. So Gonzaga, as they did in these first two games, continues to prefer working it up on the first half up at the left side with Snorsky trying to feed the middle. And here's Chappell to the middle, off the head. Warner, and back to Ryden. Zags just prefer this near side of the field the first 45 minutes. Anytime you've got a player that likes to go one-on-one, that likes to be creative and attack-minded like Snorsky, you want to feed her the ball every chance you get, early in the game especially. It'll help her to get her legs, get her first touch, get confidence there, and it start to make the defender wonder, is she going to go inside? Is she going to go outside? Is she going to try the move she tried on me last time? So expect Gonzaga, if they could get it to Snorsky, they're going to look that way. Wildcats also off to a 1-1 start this year. They beat New Mexico State last time out, 2-0. Season opener, they lost to Grand Canyon, 2-0. This is a squad with a lot of new faces between incoming freshmen and transfers. 9 new faces on this roster. Interesting to see there the high line for Gonzaga. Usually they want to press, but they weren't going to just chase, and I think that's partly induced by the heat. They're going to wait until Arizona gets kind of, if you look across the field where you see the Gonzaga Bulldogs script along the far signage, that's that portion. It's about halfway through midfield in that attacking half. That's when Gonzaga will press, but you want to see them doing it together. Don't chase on your own. That's a waste of energy. Hurge battling for it. Weathersby up top. Wildcats keeping possession, trying to get forward, but have only gotten into the Gonzaga third of the field twice, neither time with a great possession or a legit shot that had any shot of going in. Initially whistled there for a throw-in. Center referee Elor Matisu thought it was off Gonzaga, but it did take a little deflection off the back of the defender. The sideline official over there, Devin Harbour, had it right. So, John, at 95 degrees.
Tell you where I don't want to be, Greg, is that silver stand right behind the throw-in here.
Can't blame them. Good seats still available. It's hot out here. John, you played forward for this team. In 95-degree heat on this field, how does that affect the game?
Well, I think you may see some lulls in the action, right? Gonzaga went pretty hard for the first 10 minutes. Don't be surprised if things slow down for a few minutes and then they'll push again. What you got to make sure is that when you make a run, it's intentional. And if you got an attack, getting into the box is important. That's how you score goals. But you can't just chase it, right? So when you go, you got to get there. You got to make your legs worth it. A few games into the season now, you'd hope your fitness is getting close to normal match fit, and that will help, certainly.
To Marissa Arnst, the senior. Feeds it ahead, looking for Allie Brown. One of the two TCU's transfers who lost it to Michaela Warner. And now back to Boydston. They expect her, John, to replace the creative production of Aurora Gaines, who was their leading scorer last year. Boydston is due for a breakout year for the Wildcats.
Yeah, a little bit more experience now. Expected to do a bit more because of that. You can see she checks to the inside, so she might start a little wider, but she's going to play right down the middle when they're in possession, and now venturing all the way back, kind of in that holding midfield role to see if she can pick up possession. Likes the ball at her feet. She's not the player that's just going to run behind, but she can get it, distribute, and she'll get forward and score goals.
Both sides beginning to settle in now in a way that's going to help Arizona with so much Gonzaga possession to start this game.
And here's the key moment, transition. And you can see immediately Arizona wants to get it to their outside backs.
And a great play by the freshman Kelly Chappell with the body, so impressive. You know, Coach Benz told us before the game that she would like to get Chappell just a little bit more settled in, but she's impressed with how settled in she already does seem, John.
It helps when you're a fantastic athlete like she is, because you don't have to worry about all the technical stuff. Having a bad touch is something you can make up for by just recovering, being bigger, stronger, faster than a lot of players.
Great cross in. Boy, Sydney Head came way out there, nearly got left on an island. Sydney Head just now making her third start in as many games to begin this year. 4 saves against Oregon, allowed 3 goals last time out. Impressively in the USF game to start the year, 7 saves, allowed just 1 goal.
And she was caught on that one. A little miscommunication. I think Werner was trying to shield off the defender so that the goalkeeper could come and get it. And it took a slight deflection on the way in. If that was on frame, that was a goal.
Metcalf, nice layoff to the back. Back to the sophomore.
Love that little look over Metcalf's shoulder. Seeing the field, scanning, such an important component, especially in the midfield, knowing where not only are your runs and your teammates, but where's the pressure coming from the defense. Good midfielders are always taking pictures. They're scanning the field and trying to make a mental note where the space is.
That was a great tap away by Sienna Jensen, one of the other true freshmen in this starting lineup. Severn outnumbered, and Dorsey knocks it away.
Man, tried to do the nutmeg, almost slipped it through the legs of Amanda Hurge.
Up to Metcalf. Got some one-on-one. Down goes a defender. Brooke Metcalf to the middle looking for Severn, and it bounced off her foot. Right instinct, though, but you know, Metcalf does the thing with a stutter step that does catch opponents off guard again and again.
And Coach Katie Ben said she's so dynamic when she moves quickly, meaning don't think about it, don't stutter so slowly. Get out there, use your speed immediately, and she's got a couple moves to get past defenders and the strength to shrug off a challenge. She's another player who's now getting her feet a little bit more settled in the Gonzaga program. Remember, she transferred from Cincinnati, barely got a preseason, now a full year under her belt, and much more comfortable this year to start the year.
Arizona spending a lot of time with their back line even as they advance. The Wildcats are deep and experienced on defense this year. They are self-appointedly so, younger up front, hoping to create some synergy these next couple of games that results in the attack starting to come together for their offense. And you can almost kind of see that, John, how much more comfortable they look passing around with in the defense in the midfield more than on the attack. Taken away by Snorsky. And back to Cortez. Schlicklin closing. In a burst of speed, that was Weathersby, but that'll be off.
Yeah, a couple steps too early, or the pass was a couple steps too late. Just to your point there, Greg, it's one thing to be a player that's supporting the leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And you come in there, you work hard, you do your best, but there's no pressure on you to make sure you score, otherwise your team doesn't win. Now you grow up a little bit and everybody's looking at you to be the leader. You get a little more attention from the opposing team's defense. You're part of a scouting report now. That's a different experience. Some players can step up to that really quickly and easily. Some players need some time, and some players never do.
That's going to be the task for Snorsky and Severn here over the next couple of weeks, is if teams are modifying their defense to find ways to double, maybe even triple you when the ball's headed your way, how can you still make an impact?
Now you can see when Arizona has possession and control, Boydston will drop back in. She's going to play almost like a center back. And immediately, Arnst and Mendiola, the two outside backs, will push forward to be like wingers. So that's why I say the transition is so important. They're going to have no outside backs for the first 3 or 4 seconds after a transition. Here's Snorsky, is a little bit slower, but still on it.
Pass was intended for Severn, but she had 3 bodies around her.
So if Gonzaga can win possession and then quickly find Snorsky or Metcalf, they're going to have a lot of joy. If they can't, that's allowing everybody to drop back in. And, of course, holding in that midfield spot, Boydston's going to add an extra center back, so it's going to be tough to transition right down the middle. They got to go down the wings.
Just knowing how this Gonzaga formation plays, this feels like it might be a breakout game for Sophia Schlicklin or Brooke Metcalf. You know, the middle and the left side is where the Arizona defense is going to try to live. And here is Metcalf on the takeaway. He's looking for Schlicklin and nearly had her.
It's great to have a player like Schlicklin who's always willing to make that run into the channels. It doesn't necessarily have to go to her, but she's going to hold those center backs honest and make sure that they're always back. And when they are, that opens up space in the midfield, right? If they have to drop off and worry about her speed, guess who now has 10 more yards of space in the middle? Well, your most dynamic player, Amelia Severn.
Nice poke away by Snorsky as Werner's going to go up to the middle here. Zags working back to the right side like they've felt the need to do. Severn is there. Nearly doubled now. Looking for the middle. Taken away. Sienna Jensen did have an open look. Zags back into the box. And Cortez chases it down. Olivia Lester was really advancing.
Yeah, nice run from Lester. Saw a gap between the center backs that had been occupied because they all spent time chasing wide to Severn. But alert was Cortez Brown to come out and collect.
Nice body block there by Anna Wright, and really getting a lot of play these first couple of games. And back to Werner now. She is so obviously right now, John, the dominant presence on this back line. She's really something to see now as a senior.
Yeah, she's going to be one of the best players in the Pac-12 this year. She's good with her feet. She's athletic. She's fast. She reads the game exceptionally well as a center back, too.
Not only is she tough, not only is she high IQ back there, she's communicative in a way that she kind of has to be because she's the senior on that back line.
You talk about growth as a player and stepping up your game. She wasn't like that as a freshman and a sophomore. She was a fantastic player, but she wasn't talking much, and now she's doing everything. And it has to be said, wearing a face mask due to the injury is not easy. It's distracting, it's hot, it's hard to head the ball.
You're already sweating when it's 95, and she does had it even with the mask. From way outside, got to commend that shot from Reinhardt. Rather, that was Boyston. Past the 20-minute mark here between the Zags and the Wildcats. All Gonzaga early on, still no goals there as Sienna Jensen is not on her native side of the field.
You can see behind the goal here, that Gonzaga is defending right now. All the Gonzaga fans know where it's cooler. As Severn takes a hit, that'll play on. They know where it's cooler. They're sitting in the grass on the berm. The Arizona fans are the ones in the hot stands, of which there's quite a few traveling AZs.
Up to the middle for Snowerski, pass just a little bit early. Back in the Arizona third now as we approach the 25th minute.
I'll tell you what, Greg, we watch a lot of college soccer, and you can hear the sidelines. You get different types of coaches, different types of coaching method. We'll get to that just after this chance.
Schlicklin turns it around to Metcalf. Back to Schlicklin, looking to cross. She does. Far side for Snowerski. And now the freshman Chappell with a lot of space. She's looked confident out there the first 2 games of her college career. Pass, not quite enough life on it. Down goes Lester. And we'll play through.
But just hearing the sidelines, a lot of communication from both coaches, but not a lot of yelling, a lot of allowing their team to play. It's so refreshing, honestly. They're not dictating where the players should run and how they should think. The idea is you train that. You work on that in practice, and then when you get to the game, this is when players execute. Let them play with freedom. Both players, or both coaches, played at high levels, both collegiately and or professionally, and especially in Moros' case, NWSL for nearly 10 years. So you love to see them kind of a player's coach.
Up ahead to Brown. That's a live ball for now, and Warner knocks it away. Oh, Michaela Warner, we were singing her praises. Get proved right. That was Allie Brown, though, the TCU transfer midfielder. The Arizona coaching staff picked her as their #1 new impact player to this program this year.
She's got incredibly high energy. She'll make that run consistently throughout the day. And that time there were 2 players up there. I think one was offsides, but Brown's run was delayed enough and was still onside. Warner had to make that play.
And we are headed for a hydration break here as we come up on the 25th minute. We'll take a break. Nothing between Gonzaga and Arizona, but feels like something's coming before the end of the first half. Still no score between Gonzaga and Arizona as we welcome you back. This series history might not be what you think. 5th matchup all time, it's 2-2, but last time these teams played, John, it was here in Spokane, and Gonzaga owns this. They won 3-1 in a big game.
Yeah, that year was a big-time performance for Gonzaga, a team that made a nice little run in the NCAA tournament, had a lot of talent. And Arizona pushed to the brink. Both teams, good programs, not dominant in their conferences, but always near the top of the conference tables.
Meanwhile, as we welcome you back, in case you weren't with us for the first couple minutes of this matchup, Gonzaga had possession in the Arizona third for, nearly the entirety of the first 15 minutes almost. The last 10 minutes or so, Arizona's had more possession. We've been playing way more in the midfield as the Zags find Severn. She's not had many touches today because Arizona continues to double her, and she gets pushed to the ground.
Fascinating to just watch the first 5 minutes after these hydration breaks. We saw it in the World Cup this summer. It's a timeout, and it allows the coaches to make some quick adjustments that might not normally happen until halftime. So let's see if anybody alters the way they attack, the way they defend. That time you saw Severn getting out of the midfield a little earlier and make that deeper run.
Severn free kick. Punched away by Cortez.
Maybe the third time tonight that Cortez Brown has punched when she could have caught it.
Yeah.
Happy to get off her line quick, and she's done a nice job. That's kind of the safe option.
Metcalf
hasn't caught it.
Back to Severn and taken away. Impressive by Lily Boydston. Just a much bigger player one-on-one there with Severn.
Yeah, and they're going to be defending as a unit, right? It's not just one player.
Into Schlickland. She's been getting more looks so far as that is off the foot of Dorsey, and Gonzaga will finally have a corner.
When a chance to go short here.
Severn. Zags have their two best offensive players here on the left side of the field, supported by Sienna Jensen. And this is back to Arizona.
Ooh, tough call, the elbow there. Severn's been getting beat up for the first 26 minutes, and she raises her arm slightly and gets called for the foul. Nice little short corner, quick alert play there from Gonzaga. I think it was a slide tackle. Boydston just went to the ground on her own, but I could see what our center referee, Elor Matisu, thought he might have seen, that maybe she went to the ground because Severn pushed her. Either way, tough call. Gonzaga went short there that last time, though. As Severn came over, I think Severn was going to take the corner, but because no defenders went with her, Snorsky just clipped it right into her and gave Severn a chance to shoot.
Creative twist to the body there by Warner to get possession going back Gonzaga's way, but now here come the Wildcats. Back to the middle now for Arnst. Working it around to Hurge.
The other factor after that hydration break is now some substitutions on for Arizona. Gonzaga yet to get fresh legs into the match. That might be effective now, but it might also affect the latter parts of the game.
Snorsky up ahead to Schlickland. Has the speed, not quite enough.
Yeah, she shows it, though. She covers ground, eats up
Doesn't
grass.
she?
Speaking of grass, different field here this year for Gonzaga.
Yeah, new grass.
With the Egyptian national team training here over the summer months during the World Cup, making Spokane their home base, they were forced to put in a new FIFA-approved pitch. It's definitely, ooh, here's a chance for Snorsky.
Snorsky surrounded to the middle. She still got it. Sammy Snorsky, her second goal of the season.
Well, the story of the goal is a mistake, but when the opposition makes a blunder, you still got to make them pay, and Snorsky did exactly that. She was alert, picked up possession, just needed an extra little second, and the second she sees net behind, she hammers it home with the left foot. Most defenders are going to fade you towards your left side, not wanting you to shoot with your right, but Snorsky equally as strong with the left boot and pounces on it.
You take a look at the last Gonzaga game against Oregon. Like, man, well, take a look at the box score if you didn't watch it. Who had the most shots? Well, obviously it was Severn, but Snorsky also had quite a few shots, including on goal against the Ducks. So although Sammy Snorsky's headline ability is her passing, 9 assists last year, got her the West Coast Conference Freshman of the Year honors, she really can put the boot on it and score a goal as well.
She could do everything, honestly. She's a fantastic player, just growing into her capabilities. You see how good she is 1v1. She's learning positioning. She's learning how to find teammates as well. But it starts with that skill. You can't teach the ability she has with the ball at her feet. And as she grows into it, she's going to make a lot of defenses worry about her, which gives Severn that 1-2 punch.
And it felt, John, like for this last half hour or so, Gonzaga was going to get one on in the first half.
Yeah, that's what your pressure yields, right? When you're up and you're attacking third consistently, and you can see just a little missed time play. It was kind of bad pass and kind of bad run. Boyson was just slowly moving back. She wasn't really aware that Hurd was trying to find her. And Snorsky, because Gonzaga was pressuring high and alert to it, she was in the right position. If Gonzaga's back and they've been defending a bunch and they're not in the attacking third, there's nobody there to pounce on that mistake.
That's Stephenson, who just came in off the bench. One last note to wrap up that Snorsky goal. One thing the Zags have done very well so far this year is taking advantage of mistakes that the opposing team gives you. Against USF in the season opener, one of those Severn goals was on a free kick, one was on a penalty kick. The Zags will take what you give them. Kylie Johnson just in off the bench, knocked away by Werner. Arizona will go back to the bench as well. They'll bring in Ashley May. Go ahead, John.
Alert play there from Werner to head that out, not to concede the corner. Able to only give up a throw-in. In the women's game, rare to have a player who could throw it all the way in like a set piece, so that's a big difference maker.
May, a true freshman on this roster from California. To the middle, and Head cuts it off.
Nice job from Head that time. We've seen a couple balls go into the box high that she maybe mistimed or misread, but she's got a little bit more size than the other goalkeepers on the roster, and if she can come out and snag those crosses, that's just a center back's dream to know you've got a goalkeeper who's able to clean up those messes.
Chapel advancing. Has 4 ahead for the Bulldogs. Miscommunication.
Yeah, good idea. Snorsky checked back in, wanted the ball to her feet. I mean, you think about it, those two have played together really 2 games until now, so that's the other part of this. Chapel coming in on the left back. Gonzaga's going to work together a little bit more with some of these new talent, new pieces. Which you could really say about both of these teams. There's so much transferring in college soccer now that you're almost never going to have starting lineups that have played together for a year or two. There's going to be pieces of that puzzle. At this point of the year, got to learn each other. By the end of the season, they'll know exactly where those runs are coming.
A little too much speed on that one for Mendiola. Zags will finally go to some fresh legs. Rasul checks in, as does Kalia Franklin, the Washington State transfer.
You gotta hate to see this if you're an opposition. Somebody like Shiloh Rasul, when she comes on, she's gonna make you work, right? She's gonna run in those channels too, just like we were saying before with Schlickland. She's gonna make you defend. She's not gonna be overly technical with the ball at her feet, but she's gonna push forward and make you defend it. Both of those substitutions are also transfers, and I was talking to Becca Morosh before the season because she's got a couple highly touted transfers from TCU, and I said, you know, you probably recruited those Arizona girls out of high school, right? So what's the mentality? She said, you just make good relationships everywhere because even if they decide now to go somewhere else, you never know if they're going to change their mind in a year or 2 or 3. So you're kind of constantly recruiting and constantly building relationships. You definitely never want to burn a bridge, which I don't think you ever did before either, but it's especially critical now.
It's different now.
And the 2 TCU transfers were going to get playing time this year. So it wasn't like, hey, the coach hates me, I want to get out of here.
Right.
They just decided to come home. You never know how that's going to change. And frankly, a lot of these players made their decision on where to go when they were sophomores in high school. 2, 3, 4 years later, you're a completely different individual, and you might make a different choice at that point.
Zags will keep it as Harper Bonensegna comes on in place of Olivia Lester. Bonensegna had a really good look at a ball, actually, in the season opener against USF.
Yeah, and in the women's game, of course, in the first half when you sub out, you can't sub back in. Second half, you'll get a sub out where you can return. But certainly with the heat here, expect Coach Katie Benz to make a few substitutions just to keep some of these starters more fresh when we get into that second juncture of the second half. Nice. I think complimentary to be able to put a freshman in that holding midfield role. You've got to really believe in them. It's such a critical position. You can't make a mistake. If you do, it's going to turn right into a goal. So that shows you how much Katie Benz believes in when it's setting up Mullins.
About 10 minutes to go in this first half. Gonzaga with a goal about the 30-minute mark, in case you're just tuning in. Sammy Snorsky picked up her second goal of the season after a pretty aggressive first 15 minutes that Gonzaga kept putting pressure on the Wildcats. Finally broke the dam. But this would still be a scoreless game had the Wildcats not made that pretty careless mistake that led to the Snorsky goal. You can see Snorsky there on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, still waiting in the wings for Cortez.
Yeah, Gonzaga electing to cut off service to the center backs that are split wide, forcing the goalkeeper to distribute.
Chappell will chase up against Kylie Johnson, the sophomore. And Zags will take this one back.
Little nudge in the back. Defensive work from Kelly Chappell there just to get her body in front. I've been impressed with her as just a freshman, not only showing her kind of skills when things are comfortable, but able to adapt.
And she has a nose for the ball, doesn't she?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is positioning. You'd say that about almost every good player, but especially a defensive player. If you're in the right place, it makes the work easier. You know, if you're always out of position, it's just going to be harder to make tackles, harder to make challenges, harder to get back in the right spot.
Rasul puts the pressure on there for the Bulldogs, and like you said, John, that is just a coach's nightmare if you're playing against Gonzaga because, I mean, in some ways, she's just as aggressive coming up the channels there as she is the players she replaces.
Yeah, when she first came over to Gonzaga, she was a player that Gonzaga had seen and played against before, and she was a handful. And you'd rather have that handful on your sideline.
Chappell and Jensen, the true freshman.
Wow, nice touch there to flick it up and clear the danger.
May able to save it for Arizona. Cortez Ramirez now. Over to Allie Brown. It's been a couple minutes since she's touched the ball. Up ahead, and Warner has the positioning to fight off Kylie Johnson. Wildcats, Reinhardt to the middle, looking for Stevenson.
Arizona starting to build forward. We talked about their outside backs. Are they getting forward or are they pinned back in? Well, the last few minutes, it's been outside backs getting forward. It's been midfield who's not so much held in but able to make some runs into the channels.
And they will send Zoe Mendiola over there. They love her for her reliability and vision on the offensive end. First real corner chance for the Wildcats today. Low line drive in, knocked away. Back in, and bounces right to Sydney Head. Zags will go back to the bench in a second here, bring in some subs. Piper Davidson looks like she's about to come on, along with Summer Chen. Plenty of space for the Bulldogs now. Advancing to the middle, it's Severn. Severn turns around with a left, and it won't go. Not quite enough muscle on it.
I like the attempt, just a look to the sky out of frustration. Wasn't what she was hoping for. She had a couple runners through, but I'm happy for her to use those as decoys. She had plenty of space at the edge of the box, and with her left foot, I'd take that chance. What you see about Severn, when people ask what makes her so good, it's watch that first touch. She doesn't trap the ball to the bottom of her feet right where she's standing. She traps the ball into an open space. So whenever she receives it on the turn or to a gap or to change direction, meaning the defenders are always chasing her. And that's only the kind of thing that next level players are able to do, where they're not as worried about just settling the ball. They're already thinking about where they're going with it.
Stevenson over the top. Will play through. And that was Anna Ryden who came in on defense to knock that one away. Zags will sub in 3. The 2 previously mentioned. Snorsk will go off. Also coming in, Emma Hensley, the true freshman from Bellingham. So a couple of freshmen in right now for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and excited to see Summer Chen in action. She's technically a sophomore, but blew out her knee last year in preseason and never really got to play. And she was highly touted, expected to get a lot of minutes coming in as a freshman. So coming in here on the left back spot, 2 young players, but a lot of great depth for the future.
Amanda Hurge.
You can see Gonzaga's shape, defending well, organized. That's what Coach Katie Benz said was really the difference this year. She was imposing some different players, different style. Think about Olivia Lester, for instance. She was moving from center back into holding mid. And now she's got the team understanding already what the concepts are and now working on kind of the next level of it. So she said that detail of organization, especially on the defensive side, has been a key focus during the preseason. And so far, it's looked really sharp.
About 5 minutes to play in the first half. Cross to Arnst. A little too much. This will be a chance for Gonzaga if they move quickly. Iniris Summer-Chen, and John, you've been high on her potential this year.
Yeah, out of Texas. Good with the ball at her feet. Quick, athletic player. Always hard when you come back from an injury to have the confidence in your body and expecting it to work how you want it to. It was nice the first time you get a couple tackles in and start to trust it.
Rasul even double turns it through. Tried to cross with her left. Zags will have this ball. But not a ton of veteran midfielders and forwards at the moment to try to take advantage. A lot of them on the bench here for the final few minutes of the half. Bonensegna nearly had that. Nice job to catch up. Here's Johnson. Back through to Brown. Wildcats playing back. Now to Arnst.
And immediately Gonzaga's lines are organized again. Center backs communicating what they see. Midfield holding that shape. When Gonzaga doesn't have possession, you'll see Sienna Jensen, you'll see Harper Benesigna Mullins both kind of hold in and just cover that spot right in front of the center backs. Able to get organized and compact immediately. A lot of congestion in the center of the field right now. The space for Arizona is on the wings, but they need the distribution to come. Right now, Gonzaga's pressing the midfield. They're forcing goalkeepers and center backs to be the ones that distribute, and they haven't really been able to.
Piper Davidson able to steal that one away, although Arnst came flying in. Chen gets taken down by Reinhardt. Zags will throw in here. Some late pressure on Arizona's defense. Chen for Rasul. She's good with the right. Passes to the middle, and Hensley was just a step late. Over to Avery O'Donnell. She hasn't had much of a chance to touch in the first half.
She loses possession there, but honestly, nice effort from O'Donnell. If she had lost it in real play, able to lurk into transition, Arizona had numbers. Kind of a spot you just cannot lose the ball. Better off to give it away for a throw-in.
Arizona takes it away. But Gonzaga with 2 defenders there to meet him. Davidson approaching Arnst. Rasul over on defense now. And Chen cuts it off.
You can see depth a real factor in this game. It's almost like the second units playing against each other right now and seeing if one team has more depth than the opposition.
Clearly getting tired here toward the end of the first half. Werner on defense as Stevenson tries to go to the middle and does. Back to Whitney Reinhardt. Taken away by Jensen, the freshman. Under a minute to play in the half. Maybe one more chance for the Wildcats to try to equalize. Johnson along the far side. Gonzaga is calling for this ball. A reminder to stay tuned for our halftime show here tonight on Pac-12 YouTube. We'll show you the preseason poll, talk about what to expect with the rest of the new league this year, show you highlights, stats, and a whole lot more. That'll come up in just a matter of minutes, as we are now at the end of the first half between the Zags and Wildcats. And it goes down after 45 minutes. Gonzaga 1, Arizona 0, and you got to be upset if you're the Arizona coaching staff, John, because that goal ideally would not have happened because of that Arizona mistake for the Wildcats.
Yeah, it was frustrating to have one brain fart and it turns that way. But to be fair, Gonzaga, I think, earned a little bit of the advantage, but still a lot to play for. Both of these teams have shown the ability to get forward, create chances, and certainly in this one, not over.
Zags up on the Wildcats. We'll take a break and come back with our halftime show here on YouTube. A lot of Gonzaga pressure culminating in Sammy Snorsky's 1-0 goal. And there it is. We'll come back right after this. Halftime here at Gonzaga University. Game 1 of tonight's soccer doubleheader at Luger Field. 45 down, 45 to go between the Bulldogs and the Wildcats, and Gonzaga leads Arizona 1-0 at halftime. Well, one team is gone from the old Pac-12 as of last year, and one team joins the new Pac-12. Let's take you through the preseason new Pac-12 poll. And what's interesting about this, John Billings, and we talked about this last week with Coach Katie Benson, the season opener, this year more than ever, it's hard to put a whole lot of stock in this because these are teams that just genuinely do not know each other.
No, and these are judged upon by opposing coaches. So the coaches that have coached against each other for decades, They know exactly what to
Yep.
expect from the next team. They know what their recruits look like. They're all recruiting against each other. These guys have no idea.
Right.
Right? So you're
What does
judging
Gonzaga
based
know
on
about Texas State?
Yeah, historically, Utah State has been a really good program. Historically, Boise State, and then you look at, do they return a lot of players or do they lose a lot of players? But that's about it. So it's exciting. It's exciting to play against different teams that don't know you through and through, and you have an opportunity to prove yourself out and kind of get a new style of soccer here that's going to come through these home fields.
And of course, if you're from the Inland Northwest, you know over the years Washington State has occasionally been a truly sensational program, but they were picked fifth, so who knows?
Yeah, up and down, up and down. Boise State's got a good, solid program as well. So it's going to be fun to see. It's nice to see some new faces, some new styles of play. It's a bit more stretched out than the WCC used to be, so you're not recruiting all the same players all the time. And everybody was recruiting in Southern California trying to get the best San Diego surf players,
So true.
right? Now you've got players who are being recruited out of Texas. You've got schools in Colorado and Boise throughout the kind of Mountain West area. So, yeah, totally different environment this year. It's going to be fun.
Zags up 1-0 on Arizona. We'll take a break, come back with highlights, stats, and more. Halftime at Luger Field in Spokane as we welcome you back to YouTube. Gonzaga up 1-0 on Arizona after 45 minutes here in game number 3 of the 2026 Women's College Soccer season for both teams. Let's take you through the highlights and stats of these first half. First 15 minutes, a lot of pressure, John, on Arizona's goal.
Yeah, they were able to get the ball down the wings. It was Snorsky quite a bit, but this time on the far side, almost found the head of Schlickland there coming forward. You see the theme here is high pressure, Gonzaga winning the ball up the field and able to turning it into the attack.
To the middle, it was a lot of Snorsky. Notably, John, Gonzaga kept trying to find Amelia Severn, but very clearly Arizona has designed their defense trying to make sure Severn does not touch this ball.
Yeah, and this is the one big chance, head misread, and Arizona almost snuck through, and then here's the goal. A little miscommunication, a pass that was offline. Snorsky was there, just gets an inch of space, and then finds it with the bottom of the left foot. Nice shot into the far corner. It's that little touch right there just to open up space and get enough for the release.
Had one against South Florida in the season opener, and now that's her second goal of the year. Taking a look at our summary here, again, the stingy Wildcat defense. Again, that 10 shots on goal against USF in the season opener, not really a fair comparison because basically USF's entire team was new, but Arizona's a more defensively minded team, and you could see they did limit Gonzaga's actual chances.
Yeah, I think if the match ended the half 0-0, both teams would have said, yeah, that's probably fair. I think Gonzaga had a little bit better in the attack, but Arizona was organized. You could see how good they are along that experienced back line. They didn't create a lot of opportunities going forward, but like you see on the bottom there, 95 degrees in the sun, bleaching the field here. It's going to be tough to really go at it for 90 minutes hard, and we saw substitutions, and they'll probably expect to see a lot of that in the second half. Fresh legs might be an important piece of this game.
Second half is coming up in 3.5 minutes. Go get a drink from the fridge, walk the dog, come back in just a minute, and see the second half between the Zags and the Wildcats. Bulldogs up 1. Under the spires of St. Al's, we're back here in Spokane to start the second half of Gonzaga, Arizona. Bulldogs lead 1-0 after the end of the first half. That was Sammy Snorsky taking advantage of an Arizona mistake. Other than that, been a very equally matched game. And speaking of these Gonzaga Bulldogs, John Billings, their tough stretch is not over yet. They played Oregon and now Arizona back-to-back. They get New Mexico next week, followed by a road trip to Seattle to play Washington and then Seattle U. That is a brutal two-game stretch after New Mexico.
Yeah, the UW game will be a great matchup under the lights. And then you look a couple weeks further out before they get to conference play, Utah Valley, another opponent that will push them to the brink before you end up playing a bunch of teams you haven't played before. So this non-conference kind of feels like it's just going the whole entire season. They're going to be properly tested. And the schedule is really packed with some good quality opponents. Katie Ben's now at the helm of this program for enough time that she can start to have the relationships and schedule these games that get put onto the calendar, 2-3 years in advance in some cases.
Arizona, like they've done these last two games of their season, has subbed in at goalkeeper Lauren Ziller, the redshirt junior. The transfer from UC Irvine is now in goal. She's super experienced, although she's not new to starting. She was a pretty impressive keeper for the Anteaters the last couple of years.
Yeah, and common for them to be swapping this way, so no surprise, no issue, no injury. But still, neither of the two goalkeepers has made a clear case for them to be the full-timer.
Straight to Sydney Head to begin the second half. She did not have to do a ton in the first half because of how much Gonzaga possessed, John, although, there were one or two times that there was a little miscommunication between her and the Gonzaga back line, and they were vulnerable.
Yeah, remember, she still only played two full matches as a college goalkeeper, so she's still getting comfortable between the posts.
May tries to cross it in, knocked away by Werner.
And for a goalkeeper, it's really not about catching the ball or about deflecting shots. It's about positioning. It's about cutting down angles. It's about reading things the right way so that you make the choice and you're already there to make the save. The best goalkeepers are sometimes past the athletic prime, but it's because they've gotten so good at reading the game and getting in the right positions, they make saves. So for a young goalkeeper, they're still learning. And you think about how many touches you have as a forward or a midfielder. You're learning how that works every time, and you might touch it 30, 40, 50 times in a game. How many times does a goalkeeper touch it? And how many times do they have to cut an angle out? So you just develop at a slower pace, and experienced goalkeepers are usually a bit better, and she's showing the ability, but still needs a little kind of practice in the game environment.
Other main difference for the Wildcats to begin the second half, Grace Smith, the junior transfer from Ole Miss, is in back on the defensive line. Right now she's playing with Schlickland, and Ashley May, who came in late in the first half, is also out to start the second for Arizona, although not surprising as there she is with Avery O'Donnell. May also has an assist on the season, so she's gotten incorporated already as a true freshman.
Coach Moros is really high on her, says she's one of the more talented freshmen on the team coming out of that famed San Diego Surf program.
Speaking of freshmen, there's Sienna Jensen. She'll have to do some guarding of May, 23 on 24. And here he is, that Ole Miss transfer, Grace Smith, the junior out of Texas. There have been times on and off in the first half it felt like Arizona was building toward a goal, although it mostly incorporated their midfielders. And here's with speed Schlickland going up against Dorsey. Two big-name players, and Schlickland comes away with it toward the middle. She had Amelia Severn cutting right up the channel, John.
Yeah, she elected to go at it with her right foot, which meant she had to run all the way around the ball and couldn't get her hips turned quite enough. More comfortable with the right, that's fine, but it's got to be with the outside of your right foot then, or you have to hit it with your left foot. Took too much time, and the angle was gone. And again, high pressure, and now especially with a new goalkeeper out there in Ziller, Gonzaga trying to test her and see how good her feet are. Shadows starting to creep towards the field, Greg. Not quite for the players yet. Everybody on the bench at least is getting some shade. It's still hot here, though. It's almost a little bit of a humidity that we don't see a lot in Spokane.
No, and John, you were a forward for this Gonzaga program. You know this is hot by late August standards. You're not usually playing in 95 in the afternoon here.
Well, what was funny is talking to the Arizona coaching staff, they said it's hotter here than it is back home in Arizona.
I believe that. If you're watching from Tucson or the state of Arizona, although Spokane is a dry climate like you guys down there, the field here at Luger Field is right on the banks of the Spokane River, and that does impact some humidity.
Yeah, usually that cools it down a little bit, though. We'll see if we get that later. A little breeze off the river might be nice.
Here's Mendiola now playing to the near side in the second half.
I think indicative of one of our keys to the match early on is who's going to win that channel. Mendiola and Arntz, we've talked about them a lot, but not because they've been bombing down the sideline and getting involved in the attack. It's certainly what Gonzaga wants to see. Arizona is going to want to see them more in the attacking third.
Into the middle, and there is Ashley May. She's good with positioning, as John, we can revisit your keys to the game here to start the second half.
Well, so much of it is about controlling the midfield and Severn. So it's, do you create space if you're Gonzaga, or do you close it down if you're Arizona?
To the middle, there's Bedoya. Gonzaga's really limited her chances here today, and as Lester takes it away.
Sorry, Greg, and just the last part there with the keys is really the wings, right? And it's a matter of, are your wings getting forward and pinning the opposing defenders back, or are they forced back to retreat? Snorsky's only had to defend a couple times tonight. That's, I think, indicative of who's happier in the channels.
Up to Schlickland one-on-one, who's so good trying to chase after that ball. Arizona knocks it out. So Gonzaga will have it in their third again. Looking for their first real good chance of the second half.
Longtime Gonzaga fans will remember, I believe she wore number 1 as well, Christine Soma, who played for Gonzaga in the early aughts, and she was a lot like Schlickland. Fast, strong, always running down things. It's just a headache for defenses to have to worry about that, to have to keep your head on a swivel and see if she's going to run in behind. And that's why the midfield is so spacious and allowing for players like Snorsky and Severn to play.
Gonzaga keeps getting bites at the apple here to begin the second half. Schlickland high overhead. And nobody really there in the box for the Bulldogs. It'll play it again. You know, it's funny. We said at the beginning of this broadcast that Gonzaga believes they want to know exactly what they've got in terms of their rotation. I mean, John, this team already knows who they are. You can already just tell here the start of the second half of game number 3.
Yeah, and it's nice. You've got some new faces, but not so many that they've got to learn everybody out there. It's just about inserting the pieces.
Gonzaga crosses to the middle. Chappell had a good feed there. Just a misplay, but Chappell to Snorsky is a combination we've already seen a couple of times this year.
I think Gonzaga's got to figure out how do they get the final touch. How do they get that service, and where are those crosses going to be? They don't have a big attacker like Rigg was, or some of the players in the past that were really an aerial threat. So those crosses need to be on the ground. They need to be a bit more diagonal instead of getting it wide and just lumping it in. Yet to really find that key ingredient to how they're going to create goals if it doesn't come from the shots through the midfield.
Avery O'Donnell up the near side now. Off the head of Smith.
Yeah, and a late challenge there. O'Donnell took one right as she cleared away.
Zags will take this from Ryden.
Samantha Snorsky, hard to see, kind of way deep into the background, taking off some of her leg wraps. She had her hamstring kind of wrapped up, must be bothering her. A sign that she's probably feeling okay from the leg, but a little awkward there.
Severn's there. Finds O'Donnell over to the side. Attempted to cross to the middle. And Arizona knocks it away.
Yeah, Metcalf just trying to knock that out and get a corner kick. Defended well by Arizona, not just to stop the cross, but to keep out from getting the set piece.
A lot of the second half so far has been played in this precise area of the field. And Arizona continues to knock it out. Why not? Well, actually, they're going to give this possession to Arizona, and all of Gonzaga's back line is flummoxed. And now to Bedoya, who's had her chances severely limited today. Here's May, the freshman, chasing down.
And this might be a yellow card. That's the second time in a row she's gone in late with the studs up and lunged into the ball. She did get a little bit of a ball. That might be saving her from going into the book here, but that late challenge, dangerous one.
Pretty aggressive for a true freshman.
Yeah, which you love to see, right?
Yeah.
She's unabashed. She's a big, strong player. She just went a little bit late. And it's really, I think the call comes from the lunging in. If you throw your body, even if you get the ball, I think most referees are going to say that's a little dangerous and they might blow it. What Coach Moros is frustrated with is that she did get the ball. She definitely got the ball and probably mostly the ball. We get another good look at it with one of our fantastic camera angles. You can see she got the ball, but she's so committed there that she's definitely going to take out the defender as well, and I think that's what got the whistle more than anything.
This will be Anna Ryden for the Bulldogs after the quick break. Trying to rearrange. She sends Snorsky to the middle of the field. Now Snorsky going back to the far side, as you can see on the top of your screen.
Well, we were just talking about getting that wrap off, right? She finally got it completely removed and had to toss it off the field.
Here's Ryden for the Bulldogs. Nobody at that particular point of the field to receive. Zags will throw in yet again. Having a hard time turning that corner yet again. Arizona ball. John, it's almost shocking how Gonzaga continues to try to push the issue at that exact part of the field.
Yeah, they're just closing it down. We talked about how they want to pressure high. They're pressing it and not letting Arizona get out of the danger or release the pressure.
Allie Brown lost that one momentarily for Arizona, but now it'll come back to the Wildcats as Kelly Chappell gets got.
Another conversation. I feel like every throw-in thus far in this second half has been contestable, right? Both teams are arguing that it should have been there, and I think that's what the conversation is now. Amelia Severin is saying, hey, you guys are complaining too much. I think they've both got gripes, though. I think Arizona's coaching staff missed a couple calls, and I think Gonzaga's was missed a few times, too.
Schlicklin and Metcalf really closing in. Arizona trying to advance now. Werner and Bedoya, one-on-one. To the middle, Warner saves it. Wow, what a great turnaround.
Yeah, she just makes the game look easy, and that wasn't. She had the right angle. She had alert feet. She didn't lunge in for it. And part of that aided by her speed to get there in time.
Gonzaga adding some pressure here now. Mendiola up ahead. Warner again, but Boydston there to collect. Smith with some space to advance. Gonzaga's really fallen back now on defense. They do not want to allow Arizona to tie this game. Not after all this.
All but one player behind the ball. Just happy to cut down the angles. You can't have that. When you can look across the entire back line and see if you're offsides, you're not making a deep run in, that you need to be on the sprint. You really shouldn't be offsides in that situation. But credit Gonzaga's defense there too. Two good compact lines. Able to get back and force Arizona all the way out wide.
Lester gets all sorts of tripped up there with Lainey Swanson, the TCU transfer, already has a goal this year.
There's a warning, but I think the Arizona coaching staff's got a gripe. Lester had to get out of that cul-de-sac. She was in trouble there, forced the contact. Debatable if it was a foul. To be fair, you do see that called pretty consistently.
We've had a lot of stoppages in the first 13 minutes of this half so far.
Greg, this is like when I tell my kids, if you do that one more time, then we're going to take the PlayStation away. And at some point, you have to take the PlayStation away.
We nearly did it again. We keep going out of bounds. We keep slide tackling each other, going after the ball. First half, far more flow than this second half so far. Very little continuous action. And we'll do it again.
Yeah, and now that things have escalated a little bit, the officials are going to want to nib everything in the bud. So a quick call, anytime there's contact, you can expect that to be a little over dramatic for a few minutes.
To the middle and head there. So far in the second half, slow pace, a lot of contact, a lot of balls knocked out of bounds. Very little continuous action as May knocks that one out of bounds against O'Donnell. Avery O'Donnell is going to be a huge piece of this team for years to come. She was impressive against USF. Big member of this, in particular, John's sophomore class. Her, Samantha Snorsky, the sophomore class is a big piece.
Yeah, it's amazing when you have a sophomore that you look at as an experienced player because she came and played so much as a true freshman.
Up ahead, Schlickland so quick one-on-one, and here she is. Schlickland with the right, tried to cross, knocked out, and the Zags will get another corner.
Love to be able to release pressure like that, just a ball lumped over the top with nothing but a foot race, and she was able to make up 3 or 4 steps. Didn't even have anyone to cross to, but as the ball was going to roll out over the end line, able to knock it back in and earn a corner. That's so valuable for a team to get forward, get your numbers, take a deep breath, and when you can release pressure, you've got a couple different options now for how to get forward.
Amelia Severn with the corner. Players down, and O'Donnell redirects it to Werner. Severn lost the handle, and Bedoya there to advance it. She's their most impressive offensive player returning this year for Arizona, but Gonzaga's been collapsing on her all day. 4 goals last year. And Gonzaga's just been refusing to let her get the ball anywhere near the goal.
Yeah, whenever she's received it, she's had her back to goal. This is one of the first times she's had a chance to look forward.
Boydston and Bedoya, a good 1-2 punch. They just lost the handle on it that time. Metcalf fighting for it. The Arizona ball as Schlickland accidentally got too aggressive and Smith hit the turf.
Nice distribution a couple of times from Michaela Werner. First after the corner came out to her, able to spring it wide with a good crisp pass, and that time finding the feet of Metcalf. Able to clear that first defensive line if she get it to her midfield and they've got time to look up. That's when you see Schlickland and company fed.
Smith with the left. Kind of knuckles that one in there. High bounce. The Gonzaga possession.
Nice luxury to have Anna Reardon, almost at 6 feet tall back there. That's something that Gonzaga didn't have last year. Werner was really the only good aerial threat. Olivia Lester will come back and win a header on the offensive corners or defensive here or there. But having another center back who's so strong in the air, a nice valuable piece there. Ryden coming in like a veteran. She looks like she's played with Werner for years.
We knew entering this game that it was going to be a lot of possession, a lot of defensive play. Gonzaga's midfielders and forwards have done the most of the attacking. But otherwise, yes, it has been the backs who have defined this game.
We had the privilege at halftime, Greg, of having the Arizona Team Talk down in the shade right below us. So we got to hear bits and pieces of it. And one of the things they had talked about, something you see right there, closing pressure and getting to your marks quicker. So rather than having the player get the ball and then you run out and pressure, they want to make sure you're already on their heels when they get there. And then if you need to go across and help out, somebody else has got to see behind you and shift over. That's been better from Arizona in this second half of play. They've been closer to their marks. They've been there before the attacking player gets possession. And it's just a little nuance that a couple steps difference makes a big difference.
Bedoya to May. May surrounded. And here comes Jensen, the freshman, to turn it around. She and Boydston. Up ahead to Snorsky, not quite enough speed that time. Arizona will bring in some fresh legs next time they can. Stephenson and Sinkodu will come in.
Gonzaga happy to let the center backs be the ones to distribute there. They're not going to allow it to go to the wide backs. They're not going to allow distribution through the midfield.
It is Sinkeduch coming in with Stevenson. And you can tell now after the 1 hour mark, John, that the heat is starting to get to a lot of these players. There's just less in the tank for a long sprint ahead.
Yeah, so Coach Benz has talked a lot about defensive discipline and being able to stay consistent for a full 90 minutes. Well, that's going to be challenged when your head's not working quite as like it was when you came out of the air conditioning to start the day. Substitutions are going to be important. Maybe a little earlier to bring the bench in. Oh, beautiful turn from Lester there. Maybe a little earlier to go to some fresh legs, knowing that your starters are going to need that break.
Snorsky was looking for Severn, just led her. And it will be Snorsky to throw back in here. She and Severn now on the same side of the field. Arizona knows what's up. Danger Will Robinson moment for the Wildcats. Look at the speed there from Snorsky. She loves to cross with her left. Gonzaga thought they were about to have a corner, and the referees just told their coaching staff not today.
Let's go, Cat!
To Mendiola. They would have loved to have found her more today than they have. Gonzaga's had her on lock as well.
Olivia Lester has had a fantastic first hour of this match, cutting off attacks, coming across to support her defense, and then she's distributed pretty well and getting up into those little attacking pockets when needed.
And she's so good at falling back and helping out her defenders.
Yeah, you can just see the midfield hasn't had any time to look up and try to create those chances, and that's because she's cut it off.
Good follow. Here's Boydston. She had a good shot in the first half. Mendiola creeping up. Back to Boydston, trying to turn it around.
And again, Gonzaga organized. When you look across the back line, when Lester and who else is there? Jensen back. It's almost 7 defenders back there. And that will be offsides if it arrives.
That will be the offsides.
Yeah,
Goal would have gone from Stevenson, but you saw as that ball was going up that was going to be off.
Yeah, pretty clear. So Gonzaga basically is saying, we're going to get compact. If you have possession, we're just going to hold that little line about to our 18-yard box, and we're going to force you out wide. And that's going to be where Arizona's outside backs have to get into that space and cross in. Thus far, it's been all Gonzaga when they get back in that shape. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, Greg, if this is the hydration break.
It looks like there's actually some confusion.
It can't be a video review, right? Because they've already waved that off and blown the whistle.
Looks like we're going to get a hydration break, and we'll take it with them here from Luger Field. Still 1-0 Zags midway through the second.
also reviewing.
And they are reviewing. Welcome back here on Pac-12 YouTube. We're welcoming you back during what is now a video review from our referees on what clearly they were reviewing the offsides call here.
So
John.
what's interesting, and what I was just saying as we came back to air here, Greg, is they're not just reviewing the
Yes,
video that we see here. They're actually reviewing the updated rules. There's some adjustments to how video reviews are done. They're basically coaches' challenges, and there's some restrictions around what you can and can't review based on where the whistle is, all that kind of stuff. The whistle was blown, I thought, before the ball went into the net. So if that's the case, you really can't review it. And I think that might be what they're checking. But now they are looking at the actual video. And so here's where you see. So you've got to watch the attacking player is offsides next to the player next to him and the whole line across. There's no other defenders who were hanging back. Credit Gonzaga. They were all at the 18 with the same line. This one should be a pretty easy decision. Nice finish afterwards. Got to say that. Head tried to come out and close down the angle. But especially as this was called an offsides on the field, I'd be very surprised if it was overturned. But the tent there with the video board is in the shade, Greg, and maybe that's just a little cool down break.
Lucky them. So Gonzaga's out there ready to play. Arizona's still waiting to hear from our officials.
Yeah, the arm was raised up, confirmation of the offsides.
No surprise. All right, so 66 minutes down. And in case you're just joining us for the first time in a while, the first half, a lot of beautiful soccer, actually, despite the fact that there was only one goal. A lot of free play, a lot of flow, a lot of momentum, plenty of change in possessions, a lot of counterattack. Second half, John, it's like watching a football game where, 4 out of 6 plays has offensive holding. It's been a lot of stop and start.
Yeah, it's like Stoke City against Burnley for our English soccer fans.
Up ahead to Stevenson, who came in late in the first half and made quite an impact. And Arizona coming out of this break, John, with a little bit more verve. They're playing with some speed here.
Yeah, late on the challenge. Schlickling came in. Got the poke on Herge's foot. That did not feel good. That'll leave a nice little bruise for tomorrow.
And a yellow. Take a look again.
Yeah, just thought she could see it. Little magician work there. There you see it, now you don't. And challenge was too late. Classic forwards challenge, and I can say that as a terrible defender who played forward. Defenders rolling their eyes all over the place. Handball. I think what you're seeing in the second half, Greg, is both coaches were talking really about how do we cut down angles, how do we get tighter. We certainly heard that from Arizona as they had their team chat down in front of us. And so there's just not as much space, and now it's going to rely on an attacking player to evade a challenge like Olivia Lester did earlier, open up space and get out of the pressure.
Up ahead to Stevenson, ahead of Gonzaga's defenders. Stevenson through to tie it.
And the offsides flag was just raised. So I was going to say I would not be surprised to see a coach's challenge here.
I think they're going to watch this back, don't you think?
I would think I would challenge if I was Arizona. It was that close. If they didn't call it on the field that way, it was almost assuredly going to be a Gonzaga challenge to see if it was onside or not. Again, past the defender that was right next to her, but Anna Ryden was also there along that line. I think that's going to be the question. Did Ryden keep her on or not?
But Ryden, again, not next to her. That was not the one-on-one matchup. And we're going to go back to the official replay here, and this will change the complexion of the game very much.
Yeah, Gonzaga just caught napping again. The ball over the top like that needs two ingredients. It needs a player running, and it needs time and space for the passer. And that's something that Arizona has not had tonight. Arizona has always been under pressure, and they haven't had a chance to really look up because of Gonzaga's pressure. So that one moment, total difference where there was plenty of time to look up, to see the on-rushing run from your own teammate. And We'll take another look again here and just see if it was in time. Yeah, just too much time to lump that one over. That's really tough to see from the angle. You really have to look at the grass cut line. That's kind of your best angular line. And if we can go back and stop it right when the ball is passed, I think the challenge is we don't have
that angle. We don't have
yeah,
it.
we don't have the attacker in view when the ball is played.
It looks like she's ahead from that angle, actually.
But there's no way you could overturn it if you can't see it, right?
Yeah.
So they let the play go through, and then after she scores, the official on the far side, wait for it, he's about to put his flag up. So I think the call on the field is offsides. And I don't see how you could change it when you can't see the attacking player there. There's no evidence. I think she was onsides, to be honest, but I don't think there's evidence to overturn this. So this will be interesting. Well, maybe a different angle here. Now, the same story, right? You just can't see the two attacking and the defender there.
She still looks a good bit ahead of Anna Ryden.
Yeah, that would have been the other option to see from behind, but you just can't see. You need to be able to see the ball being kicked and the runs being made at the same time, and you just don't have that angle. We've got a fantastic crew here. You've seen all night the replays we've had that have been up close and very distinct and easy to read, but that one is just not in camera. And that's no knock on our team. It just wasn't there. They never got real clear
Here we go.
decision as far as what the on the field call was. We'll get a chance to see it now. Elor Matisu talking to both head coaches. I think what Coach Moros for Arizona is asking here is, what was the call on the field? Did he call it offsides or not? What needs to be overturned is really the question here. Based on the body language, I don't think Moros is very happy.
Our players are almost jumping up and down now. I know Amelia Severn is complaining for Gonzaga. Arizona equalizes.
I gotta admit, I'm confused, as is Coach Benz and Amelia Severn, because the official on the far side did raise his flag. That happened late, but he did raise the flag. That I would have thought meant on-field call was offsides. Oh boy, the confusion is who challenged here.
Okay, so Coach Benz has said that Arizona did in fact challenge. I think there's confusion on both the coaching and officiating sides as to who asked for what.
Our referee, before he ran on, said, well, you challenged it. That's what I was overturning. And then they said, no, we didn't challenge. Arizona challenged.
Because it was an
Because it was offsides. Well, that wasn't the clinical way to officiate that.
Coach Katie Benz, borderline apoplectic,
yeah.
but if that is what happened and how it happened, that would be for good reason, because that is not her fault. But either way, this game is going to be what it is now, and now this game, John, is 1-1 with 20-something minutes to go.
Well, you were saying it was a little bit slow right now.
It won't be now.
There's the spark. Both teams now have a chance to go and win it. Well, I think this is what you want now, is that the talking point is not that call. It's whoever gets the final decisive goal here. Plenty of time still.
If you're Arizona, you feel like you can win this game now, and if you're Gonzaga, you want to get your get back. Feels like we're about to get something pretty climactic here in these next 20 minutes and change. Mandiola doubled. Back to Smith. And out of bounds. Avery O'Donnell will come back in. And you can feel now, John, this game's got some new life. These players are now running out here 25% faster after that Arizona give back.
Yeah, a little adrenaline rush. Important for Gonzaga to not show frustration too much on the field. The next time they have a call that doesn't go their way, they're going to feel like it's 10 calls that haven't gone their way instead of the one individual one. They've got to keep their minds in the game.
Boydston and Jensen. O'Donnell. Back to Jensen, and a great slide by Swanson, who's back up and pushing now. And Warner saves what could have been another Arizona goal because there was no one between Stevenson and Sydney Head. Boydston now with space. To the far side for Allie Brown. Hasn't touched it a lot in the second half. Brown and Chappell, great save by the freshman.
I think Gonzaga's in some need of fresh legs right now, and because you can bring a player back in, you could still take Severn or somebody like that off, get some fresh legs, get her a little water, and back into the match.
In case you haven't been with us this whole time, it is pretty amazing just how much Arizona's plan and formation has bottled up Amelia Severn today. Boydston and Jensen over to O'Donnell. That's right side, the passing not quite as smooth for Gonzaga as their left side.
You can feel the energy of the match. I mean, Arizona's players are up off the bench cheering. It's their noise you're hearing on our nap mics right now. And Gonzaga, who was able to create and retain possession a lot in the first half, right now just closed down a little more quickly and unable to link passes together.
Schlicklin and Smith were doing battle. It'll be Arizona possession. 20 minutes to go, but this game all of a sudden has caught a second wind. Smith. All the way up for May, the freshman. And offsides. She did break moderately early there, but this game really feels like we're about to get something climactic after that Arizona give back. Head. To the middle for Severn. Jensen collapses. Heads up play by the freshman. Over for Brooke Metcalf. Had a big first half. She's been quiet so far in the second. O'Donnell to Schlicklin. To the middle for Severn. Couldn't quite get there. Schlicklin fighting for it. Jensen can't quite get there against Brown. The TCU transfer advancing. Up through for Brown on her second touch, and a sliding tackle by Warner. Man, Michaela Warner doing it all for the Bulldogs. And now she's down after 2 takeaways herself.
I thought that was actually the referee pointing the wrong direction. Warner goes in with 2 really nice challenges. There's the first, here's the second. Now, she got fouled, right? That's not a foul on her.
Shouldn't be. But it's going to result in a free kick for the Wildcats here. And they're going to send out Lily Boydston, who feels like she's due for something big, John. Her impact on this game has been mounting and mounting as we've gone along. It will be Boydston, the Arkansas transfer. And our officials call that off right before she kicked it.
So if the official blows the whistle, then you can't serve it in until he blows the whistle again to restart. And I think what happened there is nobody asked for him to stop it to begin with. So when he whistled to resume, that actually interrupted the play. So just, again, a bit of a miscommunication there. A lot of players to aim at the back post here. Gonzaga right near the top of the box. Couple unmarked at the back. Now they sort it out. And Coach Katie Benn still working on the sidelines, trying to get clarity here.
Boydston with the right. In aggressively. And it's past Sydney Head. It was Stevenson. That's her second goal of the second half. And Arizona jumps ahead back-to-back in the course of 15 minutes.
And just a nicely lofted ball into the back post. You can see it gets over the big defenders, and unmarked coming in from that angle with Stevenson. Two Gonzaga defenders marking space, but not a player. Head had a sneak underneath her. It's tough for her when it's that close to get down, just trying to make herself as big as possible. But that one easily tucked in. Now we've got a conversation going on with the coaches. I don't think there's anything being challenged here. I think it's just a matter of communicating. This is sort of like the final warning to the benches. It should be noted that one of the rule changes this year is if any bench gets a taunting award or gets a communication, yelling, anything that's going to be a warning, it's going to actually attribute a yellow card to the head coach. And so I think part of what they're saying here is we need to make sure that the communication only happens through the coaches. And I think both coaches are equally frustrated so far.
I did just take my headset off to listen here, John. So what our official is telling our coaches is that we got headset microphones. All the players screaming is making it hard to hear. The communication does need to come through the coaching staffs.
Yeah, both coaches have a good relationship. In fact, similar backgrounds, talked yesterday before the games, running similar type programs, and they're kind of on the same wavelength. I think each coach, obviously Moros is a little happier right now up 2-1, but neither coach has been really thrilled with the officiating.
Now this is interesting. Allie Brown, who we really like today for Arizona, comes off. They're sending in a freshman, Emerson Stoff, to the midfield. But she's actually played a decent amount for a true freshman, so this is not a end of the game sub. She's a good defensive player where we now need it sub.
Yeah, and a yellow card given to Katie Benz after the last warning. And now she's going to challenge, I believe, the goal, which if you get a couple of them, maybe it's worth it to try one here. I'm not sure really what you would challenge.
Yeah, I was going to ask,
maybe,
John, what do you think you're challenging here?
The only thing you really could challenge is if there's an obvious foul in the box, which I didn't see anything significant there, but you could look, or an offsides. And so you'd be looking to see if one of those white players is just drifting beyond the defenders. If there's a touch on the flick through, then Stevenson would have been in an offsides position, but it looked like it went over both attackers and defenders, so that wouldn't be it. And I don't see anything significant that you would call a foul on here. Yeah, the question I think was, did that touch anybody coming through? It's just sort of throwing one in the dark. I don't think there's much of an opportunity, but why not if you're Coach Benz?
I mean, that looks basically textbook, the way that floats over the defense and Stevenson with the inside of her foot, right?
Yeah, there's no issue with the finish. It's just, is it an offsides, or did Anna Ryden or somebody get pushed in the back here? If there was a flick right there, then then Stevenson's offsides at that last little pass, but there was no touch. So the key touch would have been when the ball was crossed in, and she was onside at that point. If she wasn't, we couldn't see it, to be honest. So that would have been out of the screen. And this one was called an offside or onside, where the last goal was called offside, but not. We're not still sure about that one exactly. Yeah, goal stands.
2-1 Wildcats. So after a first half that felt like it was going to end in a couple of goals for Gonzaga, all of a sudden the Bulldogs find themselves on the back foot with under 20 minutes to play.
Now Gonzaga's going to have to throw some numbers forward. There's no desperation zone. You've got some time still. But they need to find a way to get a few more players into the attack and see if they can pin Arizona back once again. Be interesting to see if Katie Benz switches up formation or, like we said, get some fresh legs in. With all the video reviews plus the hydration break, we've had 3 or 4 hydration breaks in the second half. That certainly helps some of the starters who have been out there most of the match.
Avery O'Donnell to throw in for Metcalf, taken by May. She's had a great second half. Swanson back to Stevenson, and offsides. And all of a sudden, time very much of the essence for the Bulldogs. Want to spend as much of these next 15 minutes or so in the Arizona third as you can. Now the Wildcats will fall back. A lot of white jerseys in the back there. O'Donnell nearly pushed there by Swanson. Arizona possession. The sophomore so aggressive. Over to Stevenson, who now already has a pair of goals. Swanson in, and Chappell redirects. Arizona will keep it here as the clock continues to tick.
Just looking down, it looks like Sheila Rajul getting close to entering the match, just warming up on the sideline.
She always brings a spark up the middle. Kind of player you want in there for maybe a late goal through the center.
And you wonder if she comes in for Shecklin or if she goes in addition to Shecklin. You might change up the lineup and put two up top.
Cross to the middle. Off to the side from Whitney Reinhardt. She'd had a couple of touches, and that would have been a late dagger.
Good strike, kept her toe down, keeps it on the ground so it doesn't fly over. Just an inch or two wide of the post. Looked like Head had it covered, but it would have been close.
Head puts a boot into that one. Made a receive. Up to Swanson. She's been eating up possession these last couple of minutes. Good protection with the body. And a good turn away by Anna Wright in the Clemson transfer. Swanson has it, though, to the middle. Arizona's whole bench is calling for a Gonzaga handball. Maybe at the next dead ball.
Yeah, it might have touched the hand, but to be honest, it's so close when that pass is being hit that there's no time to move a hand out of the way.
Zags advancing. It's Snorsky looking for Severn. Reinhardt on Severn. This is a big moment. Severn cutting toward the middle, knocked down.
He's pointing to the middle. Is it to the penalty spot or the goal kick? Judging by the response of Arizona, I think that's a penalty kick and a yellow.
Okay, well, Amelia Severn has already scored a goal this year on a penalty kick. That would be huge for the Bulldogs.
The whistle is for a grab on the arm. Severn turned the corner, and she's claiming she gets pulled down here by Reinhardt. Right there, that grab, and there is contact. It was not a lot of contact.
Oh, wow.
But if you're arguing and if you're going to review it, you're going to see that there was contact.
Okay, Amelia Severn had a PK goal against South Florida in the season opener here last week. This would be monumental to tie in the 76th. Arizona contesting with our officials.
And just readjusting who the yellow was for. Reinhardt got it. And this is forcing Severn to have to readjust and think about it a little longer than she'd like.
Severn with 4 goals already this year. Knocked away. Avery O'Donnell high on the follow. Oh, what a moment for Arizona. Well, how rare is that, John, to see Amelia Severn denied?
Yeah, and it wasn't the best of penalties. She tried to send the goalkeeper to the wrong way and then just tuck it in, but in the end, she didn't get this near enough to the corner, and it was at a comfortable height. In fact, able to save it with her knees was Ziller, and a massive opportunity given away for Gonzaga. O'Donnell came in, and you thought she might have been a tuck it home too, but that ball bouncing up out towards you. So hard to keep that one under control on the putback. Well, the substitution at halftime in goal, Cortez Brown out and Ziller in. And Ziller got her emphatic moment.
And we have another video review.
Okay, there's a few different things this could be. I would guess Gonzaga is challenging whether or not anybody encroached as a potential use for them Now this could be a defender going into the box before the ball was shot, or the goalkeeper coming off her line too early. That's the most likely. And again, I think this is one of those, you got to challenge. This is such a big moment. It'd be worth using it.
Use it or lose it, right?
Yeah, and this would be a fairly easy thing to see. So what you're looking for, the goalkeeper has to have at least 1 foot on the line or behind it when the ball is struck. So you used to be able to just kind of, the second the attacker ran out, you'd step off your line and close the angle. Now that's cracked down on. So if the goalkeeper had both feet in front of the line when Severn took her shot, that's illegal, and she'll get another shot at it. So the timing is important, the goalkeeper placement is important. And you're just gonna be looking, so some goalkeepers will keep like a toe or a heel and step 1 foot forward but keep one on the line, that's fine. But if both have stepped out prior to the shot, then they'll get a retake. Okay, we'll take a look. We're seeing what the officials are seeing as well. So the goalkeeper is on the line, and when it's shot, she's definitely forward. Man, that's tough to, okay, this will be a better angle. What you're looking for is right now, and I think she's still got a foot on the line. I think she stepped her left foot out, but that right foot stayed back. Be interesting just to get a pause right when the shot is being taken by Severn. That's what the official's looking at right here. Yeah, I think there's still a foot on the line.
Best replay crew in the business here at Gonzaga.
That was pretty clear. Well done. And the save stands.
It'll stay 2-1 Wildcats. Well, this game has taken some late twists and turns. And Gonzaga remains on the back foot here with 13 minutes and change to play. Up ahead to Chappell, and look at that burst of speed from the freshman. Snorsky there to receive. Nearly doubled though. Trying to turn the corner. Has it taken away. Into the middle, May getting aggressive. Ryden stepped in with her right. Warner puts it in the air. And out of play.
Snorsky hasn't had the joy she had in the first half, where she had more time. She was running at defenders, forced back quite a bit more. And I don't think that's just necessarily what they did on her. I think it's just indicative of the possession Gonzaga has had, and the lack thereof in the second half has forced her to defend more and hasn't had the legs to get forward. Still no substitutions for Gonzaga here in the second half.
Well, Bulldogs are pretty well locked in this point, John, on who they want to be and the players they want out there for certain situations. Coach Benz has accomplished her mission early in the season in that way. Metcalf trying to turn the corner. Mendiola sends it away. Coming up on the 80th minute, O'Donnell. And a good redirection up to Stevenson, who has 2 goals already. Ryden closing on her. Stevenson trailed that pass looking for Swanson. They'll take their time. Swanson couldn't step up to get it.
Now Gonzaga is starting to leave some numbers forward, so when they get that quick release, there's 4 attackers up there. And it may be a transition opportunity that Gonzaga finds a little more space.
Yeah, at the moment, Gonzaga has all 4 up. Metcalf, a lot of space on the right side. Avery O'Donnell to follow. O'Donnell knocked away by Ziller. The question is, did she knock this away when the ball was in play and it'll be a Gonzaga corner? The answer is yes.
Yeah, it was definitely going wide. She didn't need to touch it.
No, shouldn't have. All right, so a late corner for the Bulldogs now. It'll be Severn. Gonzaga has not had many corners today, and they have not been huge threats. Punched high. Chappell with the head. Loose ball. Arizona redirects. Warner. High in. Metcalf To the middle. Good plays off the head. Sienna Jensen has it for the Bulldogs. Snorsky dribbling and turned away. Snorsky with space, looking to cross. Finds Severn. That play just a little bit delayed.
Big block there from Mendiola. That was goal bound on the volley after an excellent cross back in from Metcalf and then Snorsky. Gonzaga pushing.
Snorsky trying to do it again. Arizona's body and head deflections in these last 2 minutes.
And everybody in white behind the ball, save one. So certainly going to bunker in now. They'll get forward if they can, but right now just closing angles.
Snorsky for Schlickland. She's got it. Another body redirection. Good late defense by the Wildcats, and that'll kill some time.
Right now, Gonzaga's got to get the ball wide. It's going to be compact in the middle. If they can get it into the feet of one of the attackers and then quickly back out, there could be some time for service.
Sienna Jensen to the middle for Schlickland, but no one to follow there. That would have had to have gone way right for Metcalf.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, you don't have a big target player who you're going to play off of. So with a fairly diminutive front line, you need the ball into their feet. You need diagonal balls in behind. It's going to be tough if you just get the ball wide and cross in. I think the Arizona backline would be more than happy, especially Hurge and Dorsey, who are good in the air.
Big, strong players. Right and back for Lester and overshot her. Boydston. Up ahead to May. With O'Donnell, that's a matchup of tough players. They've been getting physical with each other for the last 20 minutes. May with a great pass to Boydston. With the right, off the hand or the chest of Wright, and Arizona's calling for a hand. But we'll play on.
Good help, Zoe. Good help, Zoe.
Whitney Reinhardt now.
Keep it in, Foss.
Gonzaga's forward, Brooke Metcalf, all the way back there near defense. Past the 80th minute now, coming up on the end of this thing in the 82nd. Arizona will send Lainey Swanson off after a really good second half. And Leilani Cortez Ramirez in the midfield will sub back in for her. Swanson is such a strong attacker and dribbler. You think this might be a late defensive sub. Loose ball to the middle, Schlickland. For Severn, although she does not have numbers. Now to Cortez Ramirez at the top. Well, if Gonzaga wants to equalize, way too much of these last few minutes is being played in their third.
Yeah, some fresh legs. That will help. Metcalf doing her, putting in the shift, getting back defensively that last time, but it's always hard to be all the way back along your end line and then spring forward when you get the counter. So some fresh legs, that will help.
Heading down the home stretch of this game, nobody expected Arizona to be leading 2-1 right now based on the way this game has been played. But the Wildcats closing in on a really special comeback win.
And really 2 chances and 2 goals, right? I mean, they had the offsides on and off, but then the cross and really a couple of shots, and they've made it count. And sometimes that's soccer, Greg. Like, it's not always a team that dominates. Sometimes you're happy to let your opponent have the ball in some areas. You don't want them to in others. This is one of those games where they say, man, we had to really dig deep, and we did, and then we were ready to take advantage when we got our chances.
Back to Smith. Up to the middle. It's Stevenson, who has 2 goals already. And Gonzaga's defense got around her just in time.
And credit Stevenson, she's made excellently timed runs. Both of her goals were well timed, where she just kind of snuck along the line of that defense, that she had to decide when to go, and she did it right.
As Kalia Franklin in off the bench chasing that one down for Gonzaga. Snorsky out of play. Arizona, their late turnaways might end up being the thing that win the game for this team. Gonzaga to the bench, and Rasul comes back in. We've been singing her praises all this season. She is so good firing down the hole late, and she will replace Schlicklin as the attack, John. Well, no, Schlicklin's going to stay on.
Yeah, I think they were hollering Schlicklin to stay. So they'll pull off a defender at the left back.
Chappell, yeah.
Chappell comes off. So change in formation. Michaela Werner will go over there. They'll play 3 in the back. So just O'Donnell, Warner, and Ryden. And everybody else midfield and up front.
To the middle, it's Rasul. Second chance for the Bulldogs. Right, though, to Ziller. All right, coming up on the 84th minute, the Zags would be happy to have 2 more good chances if the math even breaks that way.
Yes.
Knocked away by O'Donnell.
Yeah, not comfortable passing back to her goalkeeper there and retaining possession. And you can see them talking to each other right now about the miscommunication. Again, part of what you're working on early in the season, right? Non-conference schedule, that communication, learning how you want it, what your goalkeeper prefers in those situations. Head hasn't played that often for Gonzaga, so a chance to discuss it, work towards the next game, and all of this to try to be fine-tuned by conference season. And a yellow card given to the coaching staff of Arizona that time, which again, sort of issued to somebody else, but will go to the head coach as they tally towards suspensions and things like that later in the year.
What did I say? Because you asked the same thing. Fair.
May always in position, battling with Lester. Right and redirects. Here's Warner. Snorsky has space up ahead on the left side. Instead, she'll go to the middle off the foot of Schlicklin. That was a chance for Gonzaga. Everyone was out of position there. Snorsky. She's the one you want to have the ball.
Oh, beautiful move.
Down goes a defender. Will play on. Warner sends it to the middle. Schlicklin couldn't quite get there. But she and Rasul are both sprinting toward goal, and now a corner chance.
Yeah, you see the difference of having 2 forwards because both center backs are occupied, which gives you a few one-on-ones there for the balls down the center.
Severn, her first cross from this side. On the corner. Curling in, punched away by Ziller. Warner.
Oh, Severn was offsides. Again, one of
Offside.
those understandable at the 86th minute that you didn't have the legs quite, but you got to get back on sides to give yourself a chance to cross and your team an opportunity.
You can see she's frustrated out there.
That was a beautiful cross, and it was almost right onto the line, the kind of thing where sometimes goalkeepers get a little bobbled, and you could score straight from the corner.
That was by far Gonzaga's best corner cross opportunity today with her right foot.
Yeah, nobody able to get in front of the goalkeeper, gave her a clear punch. That's another one of those points of emphasis, not just in women's college soccer, but around the world, to try to reduce the impediment of goalkeepers on corners and crosses. So they're giving her plenty of space, but that time they should have gotten someone nearby.
This is Kalia Franklin, the Washington State transfer. She has a burst of speed in off the bench, and look at her go. Flying down the side, trapped from in front and behind. Zag possession. Way too many hands there from Allie Brown, who just came back in along with Ashley May.
Now this is a long ways out to cross it for a goal straight off of your first touch, but I think what you're trying to do here is to see if you can get a knockdown. So if we look to Warner to hit it to the back post and see if somebody can head it back across, and that's when you take your shot.
Warner to the middle. Ball's high, headed in. This is Schlicklin trying to turn around the corner. Zags will keep possession on a throw-in. Schlicklin. That's Rasul, but we saw her push a defender, and they'll turn it over.
Yeah, I think Severn got the push. That's, again, a tough play because you've got it in the box with numbers forward. The last thing you want to do is bail the defense out.
About 2.5 minutes to play, and Gonzaga's late chances have all been turned around. Arizona on the verge of a very impressive comeback win that involved a lot of taking chances of great opportunities.
And I think some of the youth has been key here for Arizona. The freshmen coming on, providing a bit of a spark. You remember some substitutions were made right at halftime. Ashley May came in, and she's played the entire second half.
Schlickland battling with forearms. Trapped. Crosses to the middle. No. Well, Schlickland's doing a lot down there. They're asking her to, John, even against 2 defenders.
Yeah, she's put in an absolute shift all the way to the 90th minute, still running in the channels, creating opportunities. Gonzaga just hasn't had that kind of final connection to turn a chance into a goal. And sometimes it's just a little bit of individual brilliance. Sometimes it's timing of the runs that have been slightly off. And that's what they're working toward.
Between 60 and 90 seconds to go here in Spokane. Arizona on the verge of a really impressive comeback win. Gonzaga would be lucky to have one more good chance. Up to Rasul. Is this the chance? It'll be her possession here. Shyla Rasul so fast off the bench. Arizona partially able to clear. Warner to throw it in. 1 minute to go for the Bulldogs. Arizona able to possess. Turns it over. Lester turned around. And that might be just enough for the Wildcats. A little more than 30 seconds left to go. But Severn's the one you want, and here she is with Rasul. Franklin fighting for the life. And Avery O'Donnell will have to chase this one. 20 seconds left. O'Donnell forces it. Turned around Stevenson. And Arizona looks like they're going to be able to dribble this one out. Allie Brown with less than 10 seconds. Gonzaga will get possession, but that is going to be it. The Arizona Wildcats were down 1-0 at halftime. Sammy Snorsky had a huge highlight goal. And then 2 second-half goals put them ahead for a monumental comeback win, thanks to Myria Stevenson.
Excellent performance in the second half. Gonzaga was the better team in the first half. Arizona was the better team in the second. They increased the pressure, they closed down space, and they retained the ball much better, and it turned into a little bit more space and time in the midfield to serve forward, and it created 2 goals. Gonzaga, I think, did enough to win tonight. They got a penalty kick. They were hard done by a weird, I think, missed offsides call, but either way, you know, you had enough. You could have been in it. And a couple of mistakes pounced on by both teams, and it ended up being really who made more mistakes in the heat, the grueling heat out here. That certainly was an effect as well.
So the Zags off to a 1-2 start on the season. Want to remind you to stay tuned because we are not done with our night of Gonzaga soccer. The boys are getting ready to take on the Fordham Rams. So we're going to say so long just for now, but stay tuned. We're only halfway through our night of soccer. Next Gonzaga home broadcast September 3rd as they take on Wyoming. For the great John Billings and the rest of our Pac-12 YouTube crew here in Spokane, I'm Greg Talbot saying so long after Arizona knocks off the Bulldogs 2-1, and the men are up next.